Welcome to today's live training session with FFR Trading. My name is John Madison. I'll be your host for this special event featuring one of the most remarkable pattern-based traders in the industry, Wendy Kirkland. Before we begin, though, please just confirm that in that question box there, just let us know that you can see the slides, you can hear my voice, you probably see some video as well, hopefully. Just type a Y in that question box. Just let me know everything's working properly. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. All right, perfect. All right, just always want to make sure that's working before we get too far, right? All right, we've got a full room today. Traders from all over the US, from Canada, even overseas. Thank you for taking the time to join us here. Today's webinar is dedicated primarily to First Strike, Wendy's high probability pattern-based option strategy, one of her platinum level programs. We'll talk about that in a bit. By the end of this session, you'll understand how the patterns function, why it's so accurate, and how Wendy structures every single trade using her multi-time frame confirmation process. An important reminder here, you can probably see the risk disclosure. Trading involves substantial risk. It's not suitable for all investors. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and nothing shared today should be taken as personalized financial advice. The session is for educational purposes only. Most of you know us. If you don't, who we are here at FFR Trading. What is our role? We are one of the official support offices for Wendy's programs. Since 2006, our mission has been simple: verify professional traders, vet their strategies, deliver rule-based, high-performance systems to individual traders. As you can see, we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and a 4.8 star rating on Google. And we handle the onboarding, support, education, and accountability for Wendy's student base. All right, let me introduce the woman you're here to learn from today. Wendy's background is unlike any trader that we've ever worked with. And that's exactly why I think her methods work so well. She didn't come from Wall Street. She didn't work for a hedge fund. She didn't manage institutional money. In fact, she began learning how to trade only after a devastating flood wiped out her successful art and gift shop in Asheville, North Carolina. So out of necessity, she learned to trade. Out of obsession, she perfected her system. And out of her artistic ability, which I think is going to really shine through today when she goes through her charts, she discovered chart patterns that most traders simply don't see. All right, her talent is simple, it's rare. She can look at any chart and tell you, what is likely to happen next using patterns that she reverse engineered, so to speak, from the markets themselves. So please help me welcome Wendy Kirkland. Wendy.
You did a great job of describing what happened. That often is part of how I begin a session. Is I don't have diplomas and all of this to sit and say, I did this in college and I did that in college. It's the fact that I was an artist, and my husband and I carved decoy ducks and birds, and then there was this massive flood that we had. Well, we've recently had another one, but didn't affect me. But back then, it wiped out our shop, and just didn't know what we were going to do. And so I took a few classes, and that opened a door. And I realized that here I was, a person without a financial degree and without that background, that if I could learn it, then I could teach other people to learn it. And so that is how this all started, and eventually how the programs got started. It's like, let's earn some money while I teach you. And so that is kind of still my overall goal, that the packages that we are going to talk about do come with material that will help you to understand the overall process. So I will go ahead here and I guess share my camera. Is that next, John?
Yeah, let me, I'm going to turn the presentation over to you.
Okay.
Right, and you should get a little pop-up on your end. And then once you accept that, we should see your charts.
All right. Share, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on show slideshow from the beginning. All right.
Perfect.
So can you see that all right?
Perfectly. And folks, we'll have a Q&A, a formal Q&A after Wendy's session, so don't worry. You can post your questions now, that's fine, but we'll get to them once Wendy's done. So over to you, Wendy.
All right, great. Overall, what I teach is, in a sense, what I learned way back then, and I call it the P3 patterns. There's the P3 pattern, which is a bullish pattern, and a P3.5, which is a bearish pattern. And I did not learn the bearish pattern for a while, and it was this weird, I lost my charts and I reset it up, and I did the indicators where one was a below and instead of it being above, and all of that. And it was like the patterns don't look the same. What in the world, you know? And I figured it out and realized that I could actually set up the chart so that I could see bullish patterns and bearish patterns. And so this particular service, what we're talking about here, trades 3 indices. So I'm going to scroll through and show you so that we're going to learn, or what I'm going to talk about is the P3 and P3.5 patterns, and they create a life cycle that can be applied to the indices charts that we're going to discuss. So these patterns appear on every equity and ETF. It's not like just on some and not on others, or this time frame and not on others. They appear on every time frame chart. There is what I call the bullish adult patterns, and that adult pattern conceives the bearish pattern. And then you have the bearish adult patterns, and they conceive the new bullish patterns. And if ever a pattern fails before it becomes an adult, the previous pattern goes back into the adult stage again 100% of the time, so it can conceive the opposite pattern again, or attempt to. And it works out that to say something happens 100% of the time in the stock market, that is pretty exceptional. And so that is part of what this service zeroes in on. So First Strike trades high ATR equities. It trades the Qs, which is NASDAQ, SPY, which is the S&P, and IWM, which is the Russell. And for a lot of it, like I was just saying, it zeroes in on those strength stages. So the P3 and the P3.5 patterns create, did that go back and not, it seems like we just talked about that. Let me make sure I didn't push. There we go. Sorry. So First Strike zeroes in one of the high ATR ETFs is SPY. And so this is a daily chart. You can see that there are a nice set of EMAs here. You can see that, ooh, they're all lined up in uptrending order. And then right here, you can see, oh, look, they crossed down a little bit, came down and sat right here on the 89 EMA and then started bouncing up. And the question is, and this goes back a couple days when I pulled this together, but is it going to get above the pivot point and keep climbing? So the charts, and there's more to them than just this, tell you a story. And so again, like I mentioned earlier, there's various time frame charts. So here is a 60-minute SPY chart. Well, now you're seeing much more of the swings instead of just the upward movement that we were seeing when it was like 9 months. Here we have a month and a half, and it's showing you the swings up and down, up and down. But you have the same EMAs and all on the chart. So you can see here where it attempted to go up. It was up for just an hour and then dropped, and then started to rise again. Came right down here and sat on the 600 EMA, and then that's where it bounced up. So this is all things that we talk about and that I teach. And I do it in, if you want to say, everyday kind of language so that you get the gist of it. It's not, intentionally trying to keep it confusing. So this is a 30-minute chart. Again, SPY, a couple weeks of movement here. You can see that it was down, again up, and now is rising again. And so we've now switched. This is the Qs. And this is a daily Q chart. Again, you can see that it has been rising. Couple places here where it pulled back a little bit and has crossed down. And again, this goes back into the end of November. Crossed down, came down here and sat on the 89 EMA and then bounced up. And when this image was taken, it had spent a week and a half with the back and forth coming right up here and sitting on the S1 and the 55 EMA. It's like kind of like it was a magnet keeping price there. So here is the 60-minute chart. Again, this shows more volatility. We were seeing it on the daily, but this is emphasizing it a little more. You can see how it had this rise up and a big pullback, dropped down below the 600, came down here and sat on the previous week's S3, this little dotted line right here, and then started moving back up again. So all of this, as you absorb it, begins to tell you a story. And the more you look at charts and the more you read the little descriptions and that type of thing, the more it shares. And it's not like you have to go through and look at a chart and spend, a half hour and say, okay, let me see here. This crossed up here and then this climbed and this happened and that. You don't have to do that. Your eyes take it in and sit and say, oh, here it attempted to go up, then it pulled back. Now it's rising again, and it's been kind of stuck here at the 600 EMA on this 30-minute chart for a couple days. And is it now going to start rising and pop up above it and continue rising to get up here above R1 and so on? And the other indicators that we're going to add to the chart help share that information. And so that is what is involved in the manuscripts and the books and so on. You are getting a service where I am going to be sending emails that say, I recommend or suggest that you get into this trade and you buy this strike and this expiration, but you don't pay more than this to get into it. And then I watch and then I tell you when I suggest you get out. But at the same time, you then are able to look at the charts and say, oh, I see what she was seeing, what she wrote about in the book. I get it, why she suggested that we get into this trade. And that is my goal. I know that there are some traders that they're working jobs and they don't have time to be looking at charts during the day. Yeah, when they get home at night, they can look for a few minutes and they say, oh, I see it. And someday when I'm not working, I'll be able to apply this and maybe do some of my own trades. And there's other traders that are perhaps they're retired or are not as busy during the day that can follow the trades and learn and ultimately be doing their own thing. So here is IWM, and this is a daily chart. Again, each candle here is a day. You can see, again, this is back at the end of November. Can see that they crossed down here, came and sat right here on the 144 EMA, this line right here, and S3, and then started rising. And this is the daily chart again, where each candle is a day. Here is the 60-minute chart, and this is the rise. And so again, you can see that it had this drop, came down here and sat on S2, dropped a little bit lower for an hour, and then started heading back up again. And now the EMAs are crossing back up and heading up. Again, all of this tells you a story, and your brain will take it in and absorb it, and helps you to understand what to expect next as far as equities are concerned in their price moves. So here is a 30-minute chart. And I can tell you that a trade on a 30-minute chart of IWM back on the 21st up here to the after the open of the 25th, that would have been an awesome trade. Look at that. It went from, we'll just round it up and say 230 up to 244. And this didn't include even looking at the indicators. So I don't know if that was the next slide or if I accidentally hit something, but that is just awesome. So you can see here that we've moved past having just the candlesticks here. We have the PPO and the ADX. This was when I first started here talking with you, and I said that this was the way my charts were set up before I kind of lost them and then reset it up. This is what I used to look at, was the PPO and the ADX, and I would see these pinches where the lines kind of pinched and squeezed together. Look over here, you can see another one right there. There's a little one right here, not quite as tight, but that pinch, and then when it started playing up, look, there was a climb right there. So that was one of the things that I first started seeing, and this is like the chart that I was explaining where I lost it, and then I reset it up and I put this ADX on top of the PPO. The chart doesn't look anything like this. So here's IWM, and again now we are looking at a daily chart. There's a squeeze. This one got started and then it crossed down. You can see right here that the green line never got over the red line. So this just barely started its life cycle. And there is a life cycle that is very specific. And so what I said earlier was, if a pattern ever fails, the previous pattern takes over again. So here, this one crossed up, had a PPO cross up, got started, and when it crossed down, the same thing that happened right here that formed this P3 happened right here. It dropped. Here it was dropping. Sure, yeah, it started to rise. Then it dropped when this pattern failed, and that created another P3.5 strength stage. So that is where I was saying 100% of the time, if a pattern ever fails and doesn't go through its full life cycle, which is what I teach you, then you know 100% what's going to happen. So this didn't actually give all the information to get into a P3 pattern. But let's say you did, that you could have you got in early. I don't know, just whatever. Let's just say you got in. When this then failed 100% of the time, you know what's going to happen. You would have bought another put and got in a drop and would have made a good bit of money, much more than the little bit you might have experienced here in the drop. So anyway, here it rose and it rose and it rose, and now we have another P3 squeeze. It's not quite as tight as this one is, but it doesn't matter. Exactly the same things are happening. And this one actually, I've kind of colored over it here, but this one actually has the green line over the red line. So you have the PPO up, the ADX is heading down, and the green line over the red line. So that is showing that this is moving up. So here's the Qs. This is again a daily chart, kind of the same, where you had a P3 that got started and failed. Then this one played out, had a strength stage, and now this has had kind of a little series of P3 patterns again that have formed. Look at how little that one was, that little tiny rise. But again, green line isn't getting up and staying up over the red. And so it is just starting again to happen right here. This is SPY, kind of looks the same. Excuse me. Again, a squeeze that got started, another one here that played out, and another one that is started, and this looks like it's just getting ready to go into the strength stage. So now I have stepped down, and we are looking at IWM, a 30-minute chart. And there are 3 trades here that worked out, and one that didn't. I didn't draw the little lines here like I did on these 2. But there was a P3 trade right there where the ADX rose, PPO to the upside. Then this one didn't. You can see the green line never got above the red line. Then this one got started, had another strength stage right there. And then this was a big one. The strength stage lasted like 3 days right here. Up, 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 up. So here's an example of a trade that if you entered the trade on November 21st and purchased the 234 strike call for $2.56 with an expiration date of December 19th, which is coming up, then on November 26th, you notice that the end of the strike stage, the strength stage, and you decide to go ahead and sell for a bid premium of $13.26. You paid $2.56 to get in. You sold for $13.26. That's a gain of $10.70 per share, or a total of $1,070 for one contract. The contracts of options are 100 shares. And so often what we're looking at here is this is the price per share, and there are 100 shares to the contract. So this is the total. And so that's not bad for holding 6 days. And for the most part, the trade was the strength stage of the P3 pattern. So right here, strength stage. Here's where the P3 started, crossed up, headed up, 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 then kind of flattened out, started heading down, got out right in here. That is the strength stage. So is this what we just looked at? I don't know. It just looks like the same information. So let me continue on here. Overall, in the books, the chart images give you clear explanations that cover the life cycle of the P3 and the P3.5 pattern, their life cycle stages. So what I drew in the circles on the previous charts, that is like when the pattern is conceived, that the previous pattern, the previous adult stage of the opposite pattern, say the P3.5 pattern, the bearish pattern, conceives the P3 pattern. So that is the conception. And then there is the birth. Then there is a little infant stage where it struggles getting going, but eventually. And then there's the toddler stage, where this is where things really, really start going, and it's going to start walking, get going. And then sometimes there's what we call the teenage stage. And that often is where a few traders might say, I have earned some money here. I'm going to take a little bit of my profit. I'm going to go ahead and close this trade out. And there's a little dip, but not enough to end the pattern. It's just the teenager kind of acting out. Sometimes there is no teenager stage, and it just goes right straight into the adult stage. And then there is the adult stage. And I already said it once, or maybe I said it twice. If ever a pattern fails before it becomes an adult, it fails as a toddler, it fails as a teenager stage where it pulls back and is the teen stage, and then it crosses down, then you know 100% of the time what's going to happen next. The previous pattern will go back into being an adult so that it can reconceive, and there can be this conception of this pattern all over again. And once it does reach the adult stage and the PPO crosses up or down, depending if it's P3 or P3.5, that ends the pattern, and the other pattern then gets started with its life cycle. So in addition to what we were just talking about first strike that covers SPY, the Qs, and IWM, in this I am adding a bonus, which is called Diamond Paycheck, which is DIA. So then that, in a sense, covers all of the indices in the market. You got it all. So the DIA service covers all the the high ATR equities that are within the Dow. I am going sideways or something instead of up and down. Let me push the right tab here. All right, so this is an actual trade from the service. A trade position was initiated on September 11th, purchasing the 465 strike of DIA, and the ask was $4.65. And let's say we bought 3 contracts were purchased, and so that's $1,395. The trade was held until September 23rd and was sold for $7.44. So you paid $4.65 and you sold for $7.44. That's a profit of $2.79 or $270 per contract. And we bought 3 contracts. So that's a profit of $837 or 59% after fees. That is awesome for a trade that was held like a week and a couple days. That is just awesome. And that is not unusual. So another actual trade, this one short term, the trade was entered on the 10th, purchased the 485 strike for $3.28 or $328 a share. And in this case, let's say we bought 4 contracts for $1,312. The price was held for 1 day and sold on the 11th for $4.27 or a profit of 99 cents or $99 times the 100 shares, and you had 4 contracts. That's $396 profit in 1 day. That is just terrific. That is just great. So here's one more recent trade. We selected the December strike, $4.95, entered on the 25th for $4.67 or $464, bought 3 contracts for $13.92, sold on the 26th. Again, that is like 1 day because it was a volatile period, sold for $670. That's $206 or $618 for the 3 contracts, which is 43%. Again, making $618 overnight is really, really great. It is awesome. So just to kind of wrap this up, my overall goal is to help you learn or to earn additional income, but it's also to teach you, for you to learn how to read charts, learn how to profit from trades on your own. And this service not only comes with the email trade information, but also comes with a manuscript that teaches you to trade and read the charts and really, really get the gist of it overall. And then it comes with a daily recap that mentions if there was a trade that was opened, if it was closed, what it was open for, what it was closed for, and so on, and a little bit of a write-up on what the overall activity of the market was. So I think that is it. John, are you set? You have some questions or?
Yeah, absolutely. So outstanding as always. Great insights. So we're going to open the floor here for some a quick Q&A. So guys, if you have questions about the patterns, the confirmations, the trade structure, or learning process, now's the time to ask. So go ahead and post your questions. I'll take those questions and I will field them for Wendy, and she'll answer them. She'll keep her charts up just in case she needs to refer to her charts there. So all
I
right, let
don't
me
know
go.
that I have an actual chart here for me to look at, though. That's the current chart.
That's fine. I think they just want to get a look at the, if they need to, I guess, the indicators if you've.
Okay.
So David wants to know what is the typical delta of the options you are buying? So maybe you don't use Greeks, or maybe you do. Maybe just talk about your process in selecting the option.
Yeah, I was going to come back to here just to have a chart. I usually look for a delta that is around, I'm going to just use a general term, around 40. That if you are buying in the money, it is going to be expensive, and it is going to be at 50 or higher, 50% delta. So I usually buy one strike out of the money, sometimes two strikes out of the money, around the delta of about 40. Because once it starts moving up, it goes from whatever it is at 40-ish or 42 or whatever, it goes up to 50 and 60 really fast usually. So that's kind of my overall rule.
All right, perfect. And Jess wants to know, will we get the same indicators? So maybe talk about, because these are indicators that can be found just about in any charting platform, but you've tweaked them. So talk about that a bit.
Okay, well, they are indicators that can be found on any charting program. You know, your brokerage account is going to have charts, and so that you can select them. In the book, it tells you what to set them at, so that like the PPO here is set at 13.21.8. That is not the normal. That is me suggesting what they be set at. The ADX is set at 13 and so on. So I give you that information, but your brokerage does supply the indicators. So in setting up the charts, you are just kind of tweaking them with my numbers if that's what you want to do.
Okay, and let's see, I think it's Daria asks, are these spread trades? So maybe we'll get into the academics of the program here in a bit, but maybe just a quick answer on that one.
Yeah, they are actually not spreads. That spreads are usually where you buy a couple calls or a couple puts, or a put and a call, and so on. These are not that. This is you are getting in based on the patterns, and so you are getting into a call trade, or you are getting into a put trade based on what is happening with the pattern and what you expect to happen.
All right, and Donna wants to know, and this is important because we've got a lot of new traders. She says, does the training include practice trading with no money in order to learn? So maybe address that, because I think it's a good question.
Well, there are when I send you the trade information, you have the choice of actually inserting the information into your brokerage account and trade it, or you can choose not to. Some brokerage accounts have practice platforms, within, and you could put the information in there. You could say, Wendy says that it looks like IWM's ready to move up. I'm going to go into the practice one and play it out and see if it works. I'm going to look at the chart. I'm going to do a practice trade and see how it works. And then once you have a couple profitable trades, you're learning, but you're also then maybe saying, okay, I'm ready to do it, actually do it now. So it's really your choice.
Right. And Denny wants to know, do you teach how to set up the charts on the platform?
I do a lot of talking about stockcharts.com, which is these charts. That's what I use in some of the video sessions and stuff that I do. As far as setting up charts on your brokerage account, they're all a little different. Usually they're not hard to do. You would use the same indicators, the same PPO, ADX, all of that. And if you had an issue with your broker and it's like, I don't get how to do this, you would have to contact them and say, how do I put the PPO on the chart? I'm not understanding it, or whatever, because I don't do individual different brokers.
But you do, you give them all of the particulars on the settings.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I totally share all of the information as far as the EMAs and the numbers and stuff that I recommend for the PPO and the ADX and so on. All of that is shared.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, Andrew will get into the performance data here in just a second. Donna, yeah, we'll go through everything that comes with the program, all the training that's included here in just a moment. Daria asked a good question regarding what level of trading, and I think she's referring to what level of option trading is needed from the broker. In other words, different brokers have different approval levels. So for the strategy you're employing here with First Strike, what would be the typical level of option approval that someone would need on their account?
And truthfully, that's not something I've ever faced because it's the basic options. You're talking about buying calls or you're talking about buying puts. It's not anything that's really elevated. That I find that, or my understanding is that sometimes when you get into the spreads where you buy 3 or 4 different strikes and so on for an equity, that's getting up there, but as far as I know, it's the basic options that are offered. I've never had anybody have an issue.
Yeah, and Daria, just check with your broker.
Right.
We used to work for Schwab, and they would have what's called level 1 approval for buying options. So just check Robinhood. Some of these other brokers may have different what they call levels, but just make sure you have the level where you can buy puts and buy calls, and that's all you'll need for this service.
Right.
Raj will get into the alerts. We'll get into that in just a second. And let's see. We'll talk about the coaching that's involved, but it is online. Okay. Andrew asked, do you give alerts to get in and to get out?
Yes. I send you an email with the information, the strike, don't pay more than this, and give all of that information to buy. And then you can say, yes, I'm going to do this, or this is not I'm busy this week, I'm not going to do it, whatever. And then when I think you ought to close, then I send you another email and say, it's time to close the trade, and this is what I suggest that you put in to close it, and just you handle it from there.
Okay, perfect. And it looks like most of the rest of the questions have to deal with about the program itself and performance. So let's get into that. I'm going to switch over here. And let me get my charts or my screen going here for everybody. Okay. And you should be able to see my slide up here now. And so let's go through. I guess I'll turn this back on so you can see me again. So let's go through the particulars of the program. Now, this is under the umbrella of what we call the Kirkland Options Mastery Institute, because you've got a number of programs, not just First Strike, obviously the diamonds that you just talked about. Well, let's go through the academic guidelines for the First Strike program here. So as you just mentioned, it primarily trades puts and calls, right? So we're just buying puts, buying calls. We're not selling them. We're not creating spreads or anything like that. And the options, as Wendy pointed out, are on the ETFs, the majors, the QQQ, the SPY, the IWM. And you're using multiple charts, so weekly, daily, 60-minute, 30-minute, even down to the 10-minute for trade setups. Again, focuses on the P3, which is the long strategy, and the 3.5, which is the short pattern. Another question somebody had was how often does it trade? It averages 6 to 8 trades per month. Now, when you suggest an account size about $10,000 with an allocation of about $1,000 to $1,200 per trade, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go through the stats here. It averages a return of about 49% per month. That's the monthly average, right? Think about what numbers you're doing currently, right? Maybe your IRA has been suffering, or imagine what these kind of numbers would do for your retirement here. The average annual return, 584%. You're winning 80% of the trades, with the average winner of $841, the average loss of $822. So it's basically a one-to-one reward to risk, but you're winning 80% of the trades, and that's what gets that equity curve moving up. And the profit factor, a whopping 3.97, right? And that's basically for every dollar at risk, you can expect to make about almost $4, which is amazing. Anything you want to add to anything that we've covered here on this slide, Wendy?
I think you did a great job with that you really covered all of the elements that are important. Didn't just talk about the win rate of 80%, which is awesome, because once in a while there's a swing, but overall the average win is still well over the loss. So.
Exactly right. And there's always going to be losing trades. And again, probably worth saying, past performance can't promise future success, and trading incurs risk of loss for sure. All right. One of the great things about your programs, and you talked about this a little bit already, is these are what we call learn and earn programs. So you're not just handing everybody a fish. You're trying to teach them how to fish so they can be self-sufficient and find these trades on their own. And that's been your goal, I mean, pretty much since the get-go, as you talked about. Yeah,
that is exactly right. Right from the beginning, it was like, to me, I don't want to sound too goofy, but to me, that is payback. I was so overwhelmed and thrilled with the fact that I was able to profit and succeed, and we were able to recover from the flood. And, I bought some property, and I mean, just it went on and on and on, that it was like, I'm so thankful. What can I do to show that? And it's like, okay, I can teach other people to do it. So that's what it's all about for me.
And the beauty is, if you don't have the time to learn, right? Maybe this is
Right.
just not your time. All right, you can still get the signals, and we'll talk about that in a second. And you can have these trades executed for you on your behalf. So let's go through everything that comes with the service. So you'll start off, once you become a subscriber, you get a welcome email from the Kirkland team, and that's going to have all the details, all the download links and everything for all your educational material right in that email, so you get oriented right from the get-go. Of course, you're going to get the direct alerts to your email and or cell phone, right? So that's the trade alerts. That's what to buy, what market we're dealing with its IWM, or if it's QQQ or whatever, the strike price, right, and the price to get in at, right? So she gives you exactly where to get in. And I know you suggest that they don't chase trades. So if they miss a trade, maybe just wait for the next one.
Right.
Right. Um, you also get the daily market and position recaps. So you always know, what trades are on, what trades have been closed, right? You get all that up-to-date information in a snapshot. You get access to Wendy's support team. She's got a great support team. Any educated questions that you have regarding the markets, the methodology, you can contact Wendy and her team for that. Again, the digital books and videos regarding the education on the methodology, describing the entry rules, the exit rules, right? Everything that you need to become a a successful trader in your own right. There is a newsletter that is emailed weekly from Wendy's team, and you get Wendy's digital trade planning manual. One of the highlights, I know we get a lot of people that really enjoy these sessions with you. That's what we call Lunch with Wendy. Those sessions are on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They're recorded, so if you can't be there live, you have the access to the recording and you can review those later. And those are great educational sessions from Wendy and her team. Now, you do get access to third-party registered brokers. All right, these are third-party brokers that have been trained and they have been executing trades for Wendy's service for many years. All right, so they're specialists in that sense. And this is an option if you don't have the time available to execute these trades on your own, but you want it done on your behalf in your own account. Right, so that is available to you. And again, you get access to us here at FFR. Again, our role is we're trying to support you and help you develop a well-rounded, diversified portfolio of strategies from proven traders and proven strategies. All right, so Wendy's not just looking for anybody, right? She's very particular in with her students because she's looking for success stories, right? She's looking to take somebody from zero to hero, and we want to hear about it. So what we're looking for, and what we call our partnership opportunity, is your story, right? How did you find Wendy, or how did you stumble across FFR and Wendy Kirkland? Give us your story and how you're doing on your own, and then you got started with Wendy. How did that work out? What kind of results are you seeing? We want to see your monthly brokerage account statements. Obviously, we want to see your success. You're going to commit to a quarterly meeting with one of our strategists so they can go over and make sure you're on track to meet your goals. Right. So if there are adjustments that need to be made, talk about what's going on in the markets. Right. We handle that on a one-on-one call with you. And then after you've been in the program for a while, you're having success, give us a testimonial. All right. Wendy loves these. Again, she wants to take you from zero to hero. That's her goal. And of course, any referrals that you can give us, friends, family, and so on. Some testimonials. This is one of our recent testimonials from one of Wendy's programs. This is Walter, not too far, I guess, from where you are, Wendy, out there in North Carolina.
That area is not too far, right?
Right. He said, just a note to let you know how excited I am to be trading with Wendy Kirkland. He said, for many years, I've traded stocks, options, and commodities, but have never gone much beyond breaking even. And that's a very common story we hear. Most people kind of get to that point where maybe they're not losing a lot of money, but they're not making a lot of money either. He said, now trading with signals from Wendy for the last 8 months, I've grown my account from $15,000 to $40,000. That's an increase of 175% in just 8 months, right? That's Walter, again, from Cary, North Carolina. Obviously very happy with the service. This is Dr. D. Dr. D was actually one of my clients when I started with FFR. And he said, I guided him and advised him to purchase Wendy's program. He said, I couldn't be more impressed and happier with my results. All right, so another satisfied client there. All right, so this is what we've got for you. For those of you who want to join Wendy and begin receiving first strike alerts immediately, we've got a very special offer only for those attending today. When you subscribe to Wendy's first strike program today, okay, this is available for the first 10 members only. Subscribe and receive a free year of service for free. So if you subscribe to First Strike, okay, become a student, you'll receive an additional year free. Plus, Wendy is throwing in what she went over to you with the Merit DIA program. Okay, and this is something you want to start to take action on immediately. The numbers are there. You can call the 800-883-0524. If you're outside the US, it's the 737-292-4425. I'll put those numbers up in just a bit. You can probably see them at the bottom of the screen there. But think about it, we're coming to the end of the year. This is something you want to get set up now so you can kind of hit the new year, hit the ground running in the new year. It might be a last minute tax write-off for you as well. All right, so be one of the first 10 members. Okay, give us a call at one of those numbers. I'll put them up here in just a second, and subscribe to the First Strike program, and you'll get an additional year for free. Plus, you'll get an additional program for a year. That's the Merit Diamond program, and you can call us. They're going to go over the programs. First of all, they're going to make sure it's a good fit for you. We don't just put anybody into these programs. We have to make sure that it is a good fit, that it matches your risk tolerance, your goals. So they're going to go through that with you. That's why we need to speak to you. This is not something you can just purchase on the internet and go your merry way, right? These are serious programs for serious traders and investors who really want to grow their wealth. So you do have to give us a call. It's obviously no obligation, but we do need to speak to you. Make sure it's a good fit. Then you can go through the programs and see everything that comes with the services. They'll go over the performance numbers in detail, right? Probably show you brokerage statements from clients that are already in the program, how they're doing, and so on. All right, so let me put up the numbers here so you can see that. All right, so that's the 800-883-0524 number. And again, if you're outside the US, you can use that 737-292-4425 number. And if you need it, it's support@ffrtrading.com. So give folks a chance to start dialing there. So Wendy, anything you want to add before we break off here?
Not really, except that here we are a week or so away from Christmas, and so I just would love to wish everybody a happy holiday and hope that it is just a happy, joyful time, and that you have a great time with family and just enjoy the rest of the month.
Absolutely. And again, guys, take this opportunity. Wendy's going to take you by the hand, all the educational material that comes with us. Don't be afraid, right? She's going to walk you through the material step by step. You'll have those coaching sessions, those lunch with Wendy. This is going to get you to, like she said, from zero to hero. And then we want your testimonials, right? We want to see how you're doing. Provide your brokerage statements, right? We share them redacted so that others can see, how actual clients that are in the program are doing. But you got to take that step, right? We can't do that for you. It just takes that phone call. The outcome of the call might be that, hey, this is just not a good fit for you. This is just not your time, right? But if it is a good fit, they'll go through the details of the program and get you started. And so you can start turning around your financial, FFR is financial freedom reached, right? That's our goal here at FFR. We're trying to help you reach your financial goals. We know there's a lot of stuff out there that you can participate in, but this has been through an 8-step certification process. So Wendy's been through that process, right? All that is involved. She has to provide her brokerage statements, right? We have to get the strategy, all the details, right? Before we ever offer these programs to our clients here at FFR, right? So it's a trusted program. It's been vetted. You saw our BBB rating, A+. You see our Google rating. I think we got 4.8 out of 5, which is insane. And that's well over 60, I think, reviews now. All right. So give us a call. Again, 800-883-0524 or the 737-292-4425. Let's get you started. Hit the ground running on the right foot here in the new year. But I think we've got it. So guys, a call, believe me, somebody will answer your call if we can't get back to you right away. I know the phone lines, tend to get busy when we got people calling like that, but stick with it and we'll get back to you as soon as possible and walk you through these programs. So on behalf of FFR Trading and the Kirkland Options Mastery Institute, thank you for spending your time with us today. Wendy, thank you for your insights. To everyone attending, we look forward to helping you trade with more structure, clarity, and confidence. Have a great afternoon, everyone, and we'll speak with you all soon here.
Take care. Thank you.